welcome to the highlights for the PD playlist number 3. My name is Shayna Engel, and I'm an FSL teacher with Rocky View Schools.
And my name is Julie Vaillancourt, and I am one of the literacy specialists for Rocky View Schools as well. So today, the playlist we're going to show you is about pedagogy for effective FSL instruction. What we're finding is often when we're being told that we have to teach FSL, our first go-to will be teacher pay teachers and using worksheet. In this playlist, we're trying to highlight different ways that you can make the learning a bit more engaging, but also we want to share with you some strategies that you could use in other content area that you might be teaching. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was the action-oriented task. So the idea of this is when you're designing your instruction, we want to design an instruction that provides authentic and spontaneous opportunity for students to practice the language. Often the worksheets are great, but it's a way for students to build vocabulary, but often what's missing is the part where they get to transfer, to apply, to practice using French in authentic opportunity. So the action-oriented task is one way that allows you to do this. So you can click on the links to find different tips and tricks to help you to do this. One example of a task that would be action-oriented that we design is right here. So for example, you could ask your students to go on a current event website, such as InfoJeune. We provided you the link there. And then you will get them to choose an article that they have an interest in. I think giving them choice is super important so they can relate to what they're reading. Providing them sentence starter to help them expressing their ideas. So if you see here, so expressing, I think this is the key where you're going to scaffold that instruction. So you're going to give them sentence starter that will help them expressing their ideas. So if they're choosing an article on current event, then you get them to do a sentence starter to express their thought. And here, the next tool we gave you was claim, support, and questions. So this is a thinking routine where you could ask your students. Now, in the description, we said like your students could write an editorial. But as Shayna said, like some of the students writing an editorial, even as grade 12, that's a big task. So maybe that editorial could be more like a tweet. You ask them to express their idea on the current event that they've read, and doing it through a tweet, it's only a few characters, right? Something under 200 characters, for example. So, but that tweet needs to follow this routine. Make a claim, support your claim, and then ask a question. And then, so that would be the written part, but then you want them to express their ideas. So you could show them some videos of Rick Mercer when he's doing his rant. So one of the tasks could be, okay, now you take your tweet and we want you to walk around and film yourself and talking like Rick Mercer does it. And then after, if you want to, again, provide that opportunity where students can to play with the knowledge, the sentence, the words that they've acquired, you create debate structure where students get to work in group and they get to debate about what their current event. Now, obviously, this would need a lot of scaffold. You would provide them a cue card where they can read. And Shayna, I think you had a good idea of even for the higher grade, like doing all of this in French might be tricky. I think you were saying like,
oh yeah, so I think that even if they can't do everything in French, speaking in Fringlish or Franglais is a good start. So if they have their French phrases or their French ideas prepared and on their cue cards, but all of a sudden an idea comes up that they're not prepared for that in French, but they want to respond, well, they can respond in English. It's all about starting to just do their best and take those risks, and use the French when that will work, but then they can switch into English if they need to. But just getting them comfortable and associating the comfort they feel with their first language, well, with English, associating that comfort with speaking French as well, trying to create that connection in a debate where if they're flipping back and forth, hopefully they can associate the comfort of speaking in English, transfer that to when they're speaking in French.
And we want them to take risk. We want them to know that it doesn't have to be all perfect before they start expressing themselves. So if there's few words here and there that are in English, that's fine. So here down below in the playlist, we've provided more thinking routines that you could use in different projects that you're doing with different links. The thinking strategies are fantastic. This is a great tool where you get students, giving them different templates where you can activate, anticipate, acquire, and extract, consolidate, and deliberate and challenge. So this is a real gold mine of strategies that you can use in your class.
The next thing we included is just a little outline of backward design thinking, because sometimes we might get a see a cool idea on Pinterest and we think, well, I'll get my students to do that, but then after the fact we realize, okay, well, what is this leading up to, or is this really as related to my content as I'd like it to be? So it's really important to keep in mind that backward design. What am I leading up towards? And this ties in really well with, in a previous playlist we talked about helping engage students by identifying the why of, like, why are we even learning French. And so keeping in mind, okay, what are my big goals, what are my curriculum goals, but even more important, what are my goals for how they're going to use this in life? Most students are going to want to use their French when they're traveling somewhere. Maybe they can impress their family by ordering a coffee in French. And so keeping those big goals in mind with the why, but keeping them in mind through a backwards design thinking can really help engage your students and help them see the purpose, and help guide their learning and help them prioritize.
Thank you.
Another strategy, another two really good strategies, inquiry and project-based learning. These aren't new, but they are very effective strategies, especially they lend themselves well to an FSL classroom. A flipped classroom can be a really powerful tool as well. Because not only do you ask that you can ask the students to do some learning, watch a short video ahead of time, but if the students are struggling or they want to go back and review, that video is available for them to go back and look at it as well and reflect on that learning. So a flipped classroom is great in that it provides foregrounding, but also it can bookend itself in that way.
And I think
Um,
what I wanted to share with these is that these are strategies that, as a teacher, you might be already using in your instruction with your other class that you're teaching. But sometimes when we get to FSL, we tend to do something totally different. So I think we wanted to highlight that whatever stuff you're doing with your students in other content area where your students are engaged, you can use the same structure, the same pedagogies in FSL. And then I think this one, right?
Oh, yes. This one, I really wanted to highlight this website because I think it is full of really helpful and very usable, practical ideas. If you're, saying, okay, this is all great, but I have, 0 minutes to prepare, this website is a gold mine for grades 4 to 6. It's a sharing website that was tailored for Alberta FSL curriculum. And you can go and click on, the different grades at the top, and they've got it divided by different topics, and then it's full of resources. So here, if we look, the grade 4, who am I? There's a unit plan. There's an activity of practicing physical descriptions. There's the sentence starters for those physical descriptions, and then there's also some videos for songs and different ways of helping them learn. So the website is absolutely full of these very practical, very usable resources, and then ideas like this, ideas for student activities and exemplars. So for those who are feeling the time crunch, as I think we all are right now, then this is a really wonderful website full of just very usable ideas right off the hop.
This is it for this playlist. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you will get to listen and watch the following videos as well.